how the team has performed throughout this tournament. And remember, he's also the World Test Championship winning captain, now the ODI World Cup winning captain. Robin, to you, and this is the question that I'd asked Suresh earlier in the program. What are the things that you'll remember about this World Cup? I mean, we're talking today, the event has just gotten over, but take yourself 2 years from now, what is it that you'll remember about this World Cup?
Just the pure domination and the intimidation that they made every other team feel.
You'd remember that? Because people say that, losers are forgotten, everyone remembers.
No, I remember that. I think what they've made us feel is invincible. And, I felt so proud. And I remember telling you that just feeling just pride and joy after that semi-finals. When you see the way they dominate world-class teams, granted they had a little bit of an off day today, but it just, I think, has been just mind-bogglingly good, just the way India have played over the last month and a half. These last 45 days have been exceptional, and I think they've set a standard for themselves that they will have to live by now, because the whole country is behind them. And they are playing some really high level of cricket today, and just very, very pleased and very grateful that they've made us experience so much joy and dominated world cricket the way they have.
Okay, Rajdeep, the same question to you. Next time you and I will do the World Cup story as we did for all World Cups leading into this edition of the World Cup. 5 years down the line when we'll be doing our World Cup stories, we'll look back at the 2023 World Cup. Tell me, is Robin an exception? Because he'll remember India's domination. Will you and I also be discussing India's domination, or will we remember the winner, as quite often happens with history?
This is the unfortunate part of cricketing history. There are no prizes for being runners-up. We've been outstanding. We will remember outstanding individual feats like Kohli's 50th 100, Shami's 7 wickets. But eventually, when you think of the 2023 World Cup, it will be remembered for Australia's resilience. To come back from losing your first 2 games and then win 9 in a row, I think that's what will be remembered. And if you ask me the innings of the tournament which will be remembered, it will be Glenn Maxwell on one leg. So, I mean, much like Kapil Dev's inning has gone in folklore, what he did in Zimbabwe, and sadly that's not available on television, I think Maxwell's double century will be remembered as the innings of the tournament. And the history books will record the fact that Australia won 6 titles. I mean, it's quite incredible that this is a team which has won the World Test Championship, won the T20 2 years ago, and now is ODI champion. That's not easy. These are effectively 3 different sports. I don't think we recognize that enough, Nikhil, that Test cricket now is, and ODI and T20 in particular, are 3 different sports. And for the Australia, as the English found out this time, and for the Australians to be able to achieve what they have, this has been a remarkable generation. Most of them are over 30, so I don't think they will come back together for a very long, will stay together for a very long time. We'll have a lot of retirements, I think, of some of their greats in the next 6 months. So I would, eventually, 5 years from now, we will remember what they achieved on this day, particularly Travis Head's 100. But I would like to also say, and Robin is right there, the Indians have given us great joy. I don't think any of us expected at the start of the tournament India to be as dominant as they were. And it shows, as I keep saying, Indian cricket is in good hands. I feel sorry for Rohit Sharma. I do believe he's been an outstanding leader. He's shown the way with his batting as well. I don't see another World Cup in him, ODI World Cup in him. But I do hope that Virat Kohli comes back because, who knows how long Virat will play. He's the Novak of cricket. So you can expect Virat to be there 4 years from now. But the one last thing, the fact that this World Cup was played in home conditions. And I think we've got to recognize, and I think that's where the BCCI needs to get their act together. We need to design a World Cup which is far more global. You can't make a World Cup of India, for India, by India. We should have many more spectators from outside countries coming to these matches. Make it truly global the next time we have a World Cup in India. And remember, once you play outside India, it's not going to be as easy to win a World Cup when you're outside India. So I think that is a message in a way that we need to recognize the fact that when you play a World Cup, don't convert it into an India-only tournament. I don't want to hear, I'm sorry to say this, I may be out of place, but I don't want to hear Jeetega India in the middle of the break. This is a World Cup, there are 2 teams playing there. And you've got to be ready to to truly embrace the idea of the World Cup. So while we did outstandingly on the field, I think we need to recognize and build a similar structure of excellence of it. I just wasn't happy with the way the tournament was organized at times, the ticketing, the last minute changes in schedules, the fact that you didn't have enough fans from many of the other countries, just not good enough, I'm afraid. And I think it's time we told truth to power in that sense when it comes to the organization of tournaments. We need to be much better in that.
Okay, Rajdeep, thank you so much for joining us. Now I know what Rajdeep will remember about this World Cup, because the next time he writes a column, he's going to mention all of these things, but all valid points, at that moment raised by Rajdeep, because we've spoken about it through the tournaments. There were a lot of things that India could have fixed, but again, we were concentrating actually on the on-field performance and what the team was actually doing. And I think he also makes a very valid point, saying that go back about 3 weeks ago, this sort of performance, you would have been happy. If you asked an Indian fan, India is playing the final, I think most would have been happy. It's just that they spoilt us during this particular edition of the tournament with their performances. Then nothing less than a World Cup in Rohit Sharma's hand would be enough for Indian fans. And I think that's the kind of dominance that they showed. But the proof of the pudding is in its eating. So we'll know only 5 years down the line when Robin and I, with a little bit more grey hair, would be doing a show.
What grey hair? What are you talking about?
Okay, maybe when I have a little more grey hair, or if I have any hair at all. I mean, that's another $1 million question. Anyway, coming back to a few points that he raised, and we'll discuss that as well. Firstly, he spoke about Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma. He thinks last World Cup for Rohit Sharma, maybe another one for Virat Kohli. What do you reckon?
I don't know, as in honestly, they just found their second win. He's got 9 50s in 11 games. For me, that is
2027?
Virat Kohli, yeah, possible. I wouldn't.
Rohit Sharma?
Rohit Sharma, I don't know, and I think we'll know in a couple of years. And it depends on how motivated he is, how much the game is taken out of him. Because when you play that level and you're kind of given that kind of responsibility, it takes a lot out of you. How is he able to keep himself fresh mentally is going to play a big factor. How will he maintain his fitness? Because as you get older, it gets tougher to stay fitter. You got to do a bunch of things that are truly uncomfortable after a certain point in time. It takes a toll on your mental health, on your emotional health, and the stress of the game itself. Leading India is not easy. Ask any of the Indian captains. It's not easy at all. It's not an easy gig, and he's doing it. So you never know. And I wouldn't write it past these guys because they've just found their second win.